What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having an amazing day. I wanted to take this time and make this live stream video to talk about David Hogg, who is the 16 or 17-year-old kid who's all over CNN. He's all over social media now, and he is the poster child for gun control, for gun reform, and also the Parkland shooting, which was the horrible incident that took lives of many innocent people. So I wanted to accurately take a look at this because it's a huge thing. A lot of people are saying it's a conspiracy theory. A lot of people are spreading fake information and false information, and some people are simply just trying to have an opinion and share their thoughts, and they're getting their videos taken down and they're getting attacked by the media. So I would like to make this the most honest, the most laid back, and the least conspiratorial analysis of David Hogg, what's actually true, what's actually fake, and what's going on. So let's wait about 20, 30 more seconds for people to get into this live stream, and I'm going to accurately analyze this. So Facebook and YouTube, this is not a conspiracy theory. Nothing in this video is conspiratorial. I'm not going to make up anything. I'm simply going to have a conversation and take a look at the facts. So please don't delete this video. Please don't censor me or label me a conspiracy theorist, because I'm simply just analyzing the truth, what's going on, and that's what it is. So let's wait 20 more seconds. Thank you guys for joining. As always, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is DreamRare. My Twitter is Legendary Energy. My website is legendary.vision, and that's about all you need to know for now. I'm going to post my links below after if you'd like to sign up to my email list. That is free, and also if you'd like to support my news analysis, I'd appreciate that as well, because clearly the news media sites wouldn't want someone like me to work for them, because I actually keep it real. So let's look into it. So once again, I just want a disclaimer before I even start. This is not a conspiracy theory video. This is not an attack video. It's all peace, love, positivity, blessings. I'm simply looking at the facts. And let's be honest also. It's not okay to attack a child. It's definitely not okay to be mean to somebody. I agree on that. But if you're using a child as the poster child to change the Constitution and change legislation, that's an adult's job. This is politics. This is what adults do. They're in Congress, they're in the House, they're in the Senate. So if you're going to use a 17-year-old as the poster child to do an adult's job, don't act all surprised when people don't agree with it. Like, they don't just want to lay over and bend over and say, okay, as Jimmy Kimmel cried, and since Jimmy Kimmel cried, let's just change the Constitution. And oh, there's a 17-year-old, so let's listen to him. Let's not even elect people. So that's my message real quick before I start to all of these websites and politicians who are like, don't talk about the kid. I mean, you're using him as a poster child to do an adult's job and change legislation. So don't do that with a 17-year-old unless you want there to be some sort of analysis or scrutiny. So let's take a look at the facts, because they're calling it a conspiracy theory. They're saying anybody who questions David Hogg, who is the kid who's all over CNN, he's all over social media, the poster child for the Parkland shooting and gun control, they're saying it's a conspiracy theory to say anything about him. So is that true? No, of course it's not. Are there people spreading fake information? Absolutely. It happens every time, and it always muddies the water. But I'm going to take specifically a look at the facts. First off, it is not a conspiracy theory to say that David Hogg is the son of an ex-FBI agent. How do I know that? He said it himself on camera on CNN. He said, my father worked for the FBI. They're some of the hardest working people I know. They work 24 hours to ensure the lives of people's safety. So it's not a conspiracy theory to say that David Hogg's father is an ex-FBI agent. And also, just spoiler alert, there's good people in all agencies and whatnot. So that doesn't necessarily mean that David Hogg's a bad person or that he's working for somebody. It's okay to have a father in law enforcement. It's okay to have a politician father. It's okay to have a father in the FBI and the CIA. That's totally okay. I don't think that alone should be an attack on him. So with that, I agree with the critics. It doesn't make him a bad person, but it is the truth. His dad was an ex-FBI agent. And if we're going to also look at what's going on now, there's been the biggest scandal and the biggest exposure of the FBI in modern United States history over the past couple months with the Nunes memo and all of the speculation and now physical evidence and literal evidence that the FBI, there were multiple agents within the FBI that were sending text messages that were anti-Donald Trump, We know that, Hillary Clinton and the DNC funded the Steele dossier, which was then used to go to the FISA courts to spy on President Trump. So there is a huge shakeup in the FBI. McCabe stepped down. There's been more resignations than, there's been in a long time. So, if we're going to look at all the facts, yes, he is an ex-FBI agent's son. Yes, to any intelligent or halfway, decent person, it should be taken with a grain of salt. No, that doesn't make his opinions irrelevant. No, that doesn't make this kid a bad person. But yes, very interesting time and very, very suspicious at the least to know that that's who they've chosen as the poster child for gun control. So what else is true about this kid? He filmed people during the active shooter when he was in the closet. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is 100% true, and I have video evidence that's all over the internet to back it up, and you can Google and search for yourself or use DuckDuckGo. He was conducting gun control interviews in the closet of the school during the active shooter. There's video footage of him with a camera facing it onto his students during the shooting. Literally saying, so what do you think about this? What do you think about gun control? How does this change your mind? I mean, what type of kid, I'm asking you, this is not a manifesto of any sort, I'm just asking a question. What type of kid's first instinct would it be to not only start filming during the active shooting? That I understand, but he was specifically filming and talking about gun control, gun reform. He wasn't talking about saving students. He wasn't talking about the shock and the horror and what's really going on and, what people saw. And he didn't ask them, hey, what did you see? Did you see the shooter? Did you see where he went? Did you see who it was? Stuff like that. It was specifically about gun control. So that's not a conspiracy theory. It's a total fact. There's videos all over that he was filming gun control interviews in the closet when there was an active school shooter. And there's also one where he takes it and he says, the time is now, it's February 14th, and it's 9 o'clock or 9 something. What does he mean? I mean, if it was 9 a.m., that would mean it was before the school shooter even occurred, which I don't think that that's true. And I think that that is people going a little too far and saying, oh, it must have been in the morning before the school shooting. I don't think that's true. It also could have been after, at 9 p.m. And the whole interview is like, hey, it's 9 o'clock, it's February 14th, and what do you think about this? And the person he's interviewing was like, oh, I was just about to go to the gun range. I was going to the gun range on Friday, and now all of a sudden I don't want to go to the gun range at all. I want there to be more gun control. I don't want to look at the guns. So this is not a conspiracy theory. Don't let the media, and this is what they do, they take certain instances and they take small specks of it and they try to use that to shut down the entire discussion. Everything is not racist, everything is not Russian, everything is not right-wing, and certainly everything is not a conspiracy video. They're not allowed to just take a kid or take a person or take a topic, shove it down your throats, and then if you have any sort of criticism or questioning of it, all of a sudden you're a conspiracy theorist and you're a right-wing Russian. Even if you're left-leaning and you voted for Bernie Sanders and Jill Stein, they'll still call you Russian. That's the games that they play. So just to take a look at all the evidence, and I'm not even halfway done, so we're going to keep going on. I've made a list compilation of all the actual accurate proof. So David Hogg, he is the son of an ex-FBI agent. He was filming gun control interviews in the closet and afterwards or before, that's not confirmed because he said 9 o'clock, about gun control. I mean, that's a little bit odd. I'm sorry. Whether you're for gun control or anti-gun control, personally, I'm not a huge fan of guns. Like, I'm not someone who, wants to run around shooting all the time. I don't like guns specifically, but I'm also not a complete moron, and I don't think everything's a conspiracy theory. So I took a deeper look. So to move on, his very first tweet on Twitter, the first tweet, he made an account on Twitter, and his first tweet was a retweet from the It's On Us campaign. And his first couple tweets were all about It's On Us. It's On Us. What is It's On Us? Let's look. It's On Us is a campaign, a social movement created by Barack Obama and the White House on women and girls to raise awareness and fight against sexual assault on college campuses for both men and women. This campaign urges the public to stand up against sexual assault and step away from the sidelines to be an active part of the solution. So his very first Twitter tweet was a campaign by the Barack Obama White House of It's On Us. So this is not a conspiracy theory. Once again, this is not a made-up fabrication. This is not the work of Russian trolls. This is the work of an American citizen with 2 eyes and a brain. His very first couple tweets were a Barack Obama created social movement. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's just the truth. Is it possible that he created a Twitter account just to, I don't know, share a Barack Obama social movement? Totally. I mean, everybody creates Twitters, everyone creates Instagrams, and, you know, they hop into it and start saying something, but is it a little bit odd and a little bit suspicious that the very first thing that he does when he creates a Twitter is retweets a political social movement by a Democratic, you know, president? Absolutely. Of course it is. Absolutely. So that's not a conspiracy theory. And I also want to say something else that's not a conspiracy theory, because I want to make a huge video on this with all these points and all these proofs. I would do it. It would probably get, you know, a couple million views. The reason I'm not going to do it is because they'd probably flag my channel and take me down as a conspiracy theorist, and I have way too much going for me to ruin my whole channel over the fact that they don't want people to talk about this. That's why I'm doing the live stream. If I did, I could show you all this stuff, but you could look for yourself. I know you guys are smart people. So what is not a conspiracy as well, before I go into all the other very odd things about this guy, is that the Democrats under Barack Obama had a filibuster-proof House and Senate and government in which they could have passed any legislation they've wanted. This is just a fact. The Republicans have never had it. The Democrats haven't had it in 30 years, but they had it under the Obama administration. If they really cared about gun control legislation, they could have passed it. And this is just the truth. I'm sorry, it's not a conspiracy theory. I don't care if you're left-leaning and you love gun control, or you're right-leaning and you hate gun control. This is not for your specific, you know, opinions. It's just the truth. I don't think they care that much about passing actual reform. It's more like a thing of like, oh, use emotions, use fear, and now everyone's scared, and now we got to vote in Democrats because the Republicans are big bad people. The Democrats had power, and they absolutely didn't act on it. So if you really care about gun control, you have to ask yourself, are they going to pass it, or are they just trying to get my emotions, my sympathy, and my votes? They could have passed all of this legislation without a doubt, but now they're acting like they couldn't do it. I made a viral video that has over 1 million views about that as well, and they said the same thing about immigration that Trump says now, and then now they act like it's crazy. So on to other things about David Hogg. I'm just letting you know they could have passed this, and they chose not to for whatever reason. I guess it's better to let it linger and then use this tragedy to be like, hey, we got to get back into power because last time we were in power, we didn't do what we said we were going to do. I mean, I don't know. It's all odd to me, but another thing that happened, so I'm go back through the things. David Hogg, these are all non-conspiracies, nothing about this. I'm not being mean, I'm not being hateful, I'm not being negative, I'm not being bullying, I'm not harassing anybody, I'm just laying out the facts. Much love, peace to everyone. He's an FBI agent, or ex-FBI agent's son. He was filming gun control interviews during the active shooter in the closet, and he admits this on camera, not only on CNN, but he also has video footage of the interviews he conducted during the active school shooter in the closet. And they weren't like a, what did you see? Did you see anything? Are you scared? It was like a, what do you think about gun control? Don't you think they need to take guns away now? I mean, this is some pretty weird, interesting stuff. His first tweet ever was an It's On Us Barack Obama White House campaign. That's his first retweet. He opened a Twitter, I guess, to support Barack Obama. Makes sense. And let's move on, because I'm not even halfway done with all the evidence. He stumbled over a bunch of lines. There's videos of him going viral all over, and they took him down. He's stumbling over lines like an actor. Like he's saying, "Oh," and then he like messes up, and then he repeats and repeats and repeats the line. Like he's not organically coming up with these things. He's not like going to his mind to recollect what happened. It's like he has clear lines, whether it's true or not. He's rehearsing certain lines and certain talking points that he has to say to the camera. So, there's definitely multiple possibilities. One is that, clearly he's just repeating lines, but a lot of people will say, well, Anomaly or whoever, that's not a conspiracy theory, that's not bad. Everyone does that. When you go on the news, everyone repeats lines and everybody reads lines. And to this I would say, yeah, you're absolutely true. It's not just this kid. I think you're totally right. People do repeat lines, but then that should make you think, how honest and accurate is the news if everybody's up there repeating lines? That should be a wake-up indication that all of the people that they have on the news are fake and staged. A lot of these shows are fake and staged. Like, you go and watch I don't want to speak specifically to certain things, but like, you watch the Steve Harvey show, or you watch a talk show, or you watch the news, or you watch a reality show. None of it's real. I mean, that should be a wake-up indication. It's all scripted lines. Even shows that seem like they're real. Hey, my boyfriend just cheated on me. Half the time, they are literally paid actors. They're, casting calls. They get paid a couple $100 to pretend like they beat their girlfriend on Jerry Springer or whatever. So I'm not speaking for specific shows, because I'm not, I don't know exactly which shows are doing what, but, in my personal experience that I've seen with my own eyes, and also other people I've talked to, 99% of these shows, 90% of these shows are paid actors with reading lines. So when you watch the news, if you're going to defend this kid and say, well, of course he's forgetting his lines, he's just reading lines. So what's the point of watching the news and like acting like you're like, oh man, I'm hearing right from the source, like what happened, and they're telling me exactly what happened that day during the shooter. No, they're reading lines, whether they're real or not, or regardless of what's accurate about them. That should be a huge wake-up indication to everybody that the television is not an accurate source of information. And these news sites are not going there and getting these like, oh, like, look at this protest. Half the time they do stage them. They put people in places. They stand them there. They give them signs. They give them lines. And then they film it and then present it to you like it's reality. So, of course, it's a possibility that's what they do to everybody. But how is that any better than the fact if he did it alone? So they show him recollecting what happened in the school, stumbling over lines completely inauthentically. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not like being rude or mean. That's just a fact. That's what happened. Everybody saw it. It's got tens of millions of hundreds of millions of views. It's all over Facebook. It's all over Twitter. And you're not going to magically make it disappear by calling it Russian or racist or mean or right-wing or harassment or bullying. I'm sorry, people are not that dumb anymore. It's just not going to work. Another, thing that happened is he's got an Instagram page, because now he's got a Twitter and Instagram. He's verified on Twitter. He's all over the news. His Instagram showed him a month before at the school interviewing a Democratic politician. I believe his name was Ted Deutsch, which is interesting. So he's just, conducting an interview with a Florida Democrat. That's fine. I mean, it's not the biggest deal. I'm not saying, oh, well, it must be a setup. I'm just letting you know the facts. Since Facebook and YouTube, they want to say everything's a conspiracy theory, I'm just hitting the facts. He's an ex-FBI agent's son. He was filming gun control interviews during the school shooting in a closet, and either before or after that. His first tweet was a Barack Obama "It's on Us" social campaign. He stumbles over his lines like an actor. His Instagram showed him interviewing a Democratic politician a month before. Let's move on. He was interviewed in Redondo Beach, I believe it was last year or in the past, in California, where he was on vacation, and he made that very clear on his Twitter and Instagram. He's like, I'm vacationing, look at me, it's vacation, just letting you know. So he was on a CBS feature where he said, it was like this really weird story where his friend left his surfboard on a trash can, and the lifeguard said, hey, move that off the trash can, and he got video footage of it, and then they put it on the air. Honestly, you could watch it for yourself if YouTube didn't already take it down. It's a very bizarre, weird feature. Like, it's so dumb. It's pretty, like, what media contacts did he have to get that on the air? Because it's a total nothing burger story. It's like, I left my surfboard on the trash can, and the lifeguard yelled at my friend, and they show the lifeguard being like, hey, can you move it off the trash can? And the kid's like, F you, man, F you, you're not my father. And it's like, this is the big scoop on CBS, so no, that doesn't mean anything per se. Like, apparently this kid just gets on the news all the time, but, I mean, I've seen revolutionary things happen every single day. People do amazing things, people do crazy things, and the news never covers it. So why in the world, when he's in California, would the news cover his friend's surfboard on a trash can? Like, it's the most bizarre story. So, like, what special powers does he have to summon CBS down there for a complete, like, lack of any sort of, like, story? It's very, very strange, but it is true. That's not photoshopped. It's not faked. He really was in Redondo Beach, and he was on CBS just a year ago. another thing that's very interesting is 2 weeks ago, he's got his own YouTube channel. So he's got, a few vlogs, and you could watch all his vlogs. I checked them all out. The one was like, man, thank you guys so much for all the views. Like, it's because of you guys that I got on the news. And you look at the views of the vlog, and it has like 100, 200 views. And that's now. It probably had like 10 views before. So it's like, what are you talking about? Like, what views and what audience helped you get that on the news? I'm not really sure. But the most interesting thing to me on his YouTube channel was the fact that he had a whole high-definition documentary in the school 2 weeks earlier. And in that, the main people in the documentary were, himself filming, but Emma Gonzalez, who is the other girl that CNN continues to use, the one in the Beatles shirt that stood right next to him and was like, yeah, everything he says is right, gun control, we need it now. She's like the main character in the documentary, and she's also in the thumbnail of the documentary. So I'm just being honest. I don't want to say too much because then maybe they'll flag me for having like a halfway decent opinion, but none of what I said is a conspiracy theory. Certain things might be opinionative of that I said that you might be like, hey, I don't agree because I'm a progressive, or I'm a libertarian, or I'm a conservative, whatever. You don't have to agree, but all of the facts I said are not conspiracy theories, and my opinions are strictly, educated opinions based on what I saw. But when I saw that video, it's very interesting. It was almost just like, hey, look, we're at the school. Like, look, this is Emma Gonzalez. Me and Emma Gonzalez go to this school. Like, and I'm not questioning that he went to that school. I know he went to that school. I know he attended the school for years, but nothing about this seems authentic to me. Nothing about it seems organic. It's clearly not organic. I would say my analysis of it is, at best, he is a extremely left-leaning Democratic Party, pumping 17-year-old who will fit right in at CNN. He'll fit right in at MSNBC. He could sit next to Don Lemon. He could sit next to Brian Skelter and Rachel Maddow and all those other people. He's perfect. So at best, I'm not saying he's a setup or anything, but he's a left-leaning Democratic Party, news journalist who will do anything for the spotlight, who will do anything anti-Trump or anti-conservative for attention. That's the best scenario. So it's like, it's not a conspiracy theory to say that this kid is perfect for CNN. Of course they have him on. Of course he's got all these connections at CBS. Of course they love the kid because he's just like them. He's just like a Don Lemon or a Brian Skelter. He's the same type of person. He's got the same, mentality. At best, he'll fit right in with the fake news networks. He'll fit right in CNN, MSNBC. So that's at best. At worst, there's something very profoundly sketchy going on. And I think any intelligent person, even if you're pro-gun reform and you're pro-gun legislation and you're pro-Democratic Party and you're pro-anti-conservative or whatever, I would think any halfway intelligent person would be like, nothing about this is organic. Nothing about this is seems authentic. And I don't think that's a conspiracy theory to say that, because with all of the stuff I just listed, that doesn't even scratch the surface. I named 10 things that would make any intelligent person be like, oh, that's a little bit suspicious. I'm going to keep an eye out. But what does the news do? They do the same thing that they do all the time. They write it off as a conspiracy theory. And I want to wake people up, whether you're a left-leaning progressive or a Democratic Party or a Jill Stein voter, it's not about your opinions. It's not about your policies. There's something very important called the freedom of speech and the freedom of press and, the Constitution. And while you may not agree with certain aspects of it, freedom of speech, I think we can all agree on. The First Amendment has been a cornerstone in our success. I mean, it could be a lot better, of course, but it could also be a lot worse. Everybody wants change until they realize change could go in the negative direction and it can go fast. And what these news networks want to do, what Twitter wants to do, what Facebook wants to do, what YouTube wants to do, they're allowed to push 15 fake stories if they want. Washington Post had to retract a conspiracy theory. The New York Times had to retract a conspiracy theory. CNN has had to retract multiple conspiracy theories. The Associated Press has had to retract a conspiracy theory. Twitter themselves have had to retract a conspiracy theory. So they've all been pushing conspiracy theories all year, but when they do it, it's totally okay. There's no penalty, there's no warning, there's no censorship. They're allowed to push conspiracy theories. As long as it goes with their agenda and what they want to do, they have no problem sharing fake news. They have no problem partnering with the fakest news networks to tell you how to not be fake. They're like, here's Brian Skelter to tell you how to not be fake. I mean, he's the fakest guy on television. How's he going to tell me not to be fake when I'm 10,000 times more authentic and honest than he is? So, these social media companies, they have no problem calling everything a conspiracy theory that they don't agree with. But the second something goes against what they agree with, no matter how much accuracy and truth there is, they're going to call it a conspiracy theory. They're going to call it right wing, even if you're left wing. You could be more left than Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama combined. But the second that you say something that they don't want you to say, they're going to call you right wing. And I want people to wake up, because me personally, I'm not right wing. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a Republican. But anytime I say something that goes against the mainstream narrative that's halfway decent or intelligent, they call me right wing and Russian. And they're doing this to silence and censor anybody with an opposing opinion, like a communist or a dictator regime would do. They're just more sneaky about it. In other countries, in Mexico, people know about cartels. They know that there's cartels and corrupt police and corrupt government. The only difference in the United States is the biggest gangs in the United States, the biggest cartels in the United States, people are so brainwashed by the media, they think it doesn't exist. They think it's all rainbows and candy outside of President Trump. President Trump's a big, bad, crazy person, and everything else is perfect, and there's no way any of this bad stuff can even happen. Although there's documentation that they're admitting that they've done this stuff. All of your favorite people from history, they've manipulated and done horrible, terrible things to. All the same people who get a day on the calendar, they've threatened. But nobody seems to care. They're like, oh no, there's no way that could happen. I mean, anybody outside. So that is my final statement in this video, is that if you care about the truth, if you care about honesty and integrity in the First Amendment, make no mistake, it's not about conservatism. It's not about crazy right-wing racists. It's not about Russians. It's about controlling the narrative and not letting you question anything that they don't want you to question. And the second that you do, they will say it's Russian bots. They've done this with every decent talking point all year. They say, oh, Russian bots were pushing that on Twitter, and then they use that as justification to then censor the debate. They call it a conspiracy theory, and then that gives them justification to delete videos. Oh, well, that's bullying, that's harassment, that's a conspiracy theory, so now we can delete your videos. Now we can censor you. Now we can silence you. Now we can take down your page. It's not because they actually care about false information. They partner with the fakest news companies who've been pushing false information on people the entire year. You wonder why Trump won? It's because the whole media has been lying to you, and they keep lying and lying and lying. It's not because Trump is the greatest person in the world. It's not because everybody's racist and sexist. It's because the media is full of BS. Everybody knows it, and they're now panicking, just trying to delete everybody out of existence. They don't even want you to exist if you don't go along with them. If you don't just bend over and say, oh, I'm gonna listen to a 17-year-old kid on how to run the government, and if you don't agree with me, you're a racist, sexist, xenophobe. They do it with every topic, even if it's a left-wing progressive topic. If it's honest, they will say it was Russian bots. They will say there's Russian bots pushing it, and then they will use that to silence people and censor people. So wake up. It's not about conservatives. It's not about right-wing and left-wing. It's about an elite class who wants complete control over everybody. And with this situation, I'm not pushing a conspiracy theory. I'm not pushing any false or negative information. I'm telling you the truth. There's 20 different things that are very, 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 very suspicious going on with not only the shooting, but also the kid that they have pushing out the thing. It's even been said that that they had 5 drills a month. I mean, has anybody ever heard it? I'm not suggesting anything, but do you know of a school that has 5 drills per month? We had 3 drills a year, 2 drills a year. I've never heard of 5 drills every month and a drill on the same day. I'm not saying that means anything, but is that worth questioning? Absolutely. Is the media desperate to call it a conspiracy theory so you don't even question anything? 1,000%. And even a lot of media sources that I trust, they're very quick to brush things under the rug as soon as it doesn't go along with their policy. We're like, oh, I want universal health care and I want this, so I'm just going to blatantly ignore all this stuff and let them. Even progressive leaders like Bernie Sanders suggested that any progressive and any left-leaning person who doesn't like Hillary Clinton is either Russian or influenced by Russians. That's how stupid Bernie Sanders thinks you are. He thinks if you don't like Hillary Clinton, like, hey, I like Bernie Sanders, but I don't like Hillary Clinton. So it's a normal thing to like one politician and not like another. Well, guess what? Bernie Sanders admitted he thinks you're Russian or influenced by Russians. That's how low these politicians think of you. That's how dumb YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter think you are. They think that that they can just use President Trump and use all the things he says and use massacres to completely censor and control everybody and write it off as right-wing, Russian, racist, or conspiratorial. And all the top players are playing in on it. And unfortunately, everybody on the left, even progressives like the Young Turks and Bernie Sanders, they're playing along with it. I don't pick sides. I don't care if you're left or right. I like honesty. But outside of Jimmy Dore and Caitlin Johnstone and maybe like a very small few of others, there's no one on the left telling the truth. They're so inundated in this, we need universal health care and free college and higher taxes, that they don't even care about anything. They're literally willing to ruin everything just for these policies and politicians that don't even care about them and would make everything terrible. So once again, I don't even want to get on too big of a tangent, but there are very suspicious things. Nothing about my video is a conspiracy theory, so please don't delete it. There's nothing conspiratorial. It's very kind. It's very accurate. To be honest, sadly, it's probably a better analysis than all of the mainstream media combined. And I'm not talking myself up, acting like I'm so great. That just shows you how low the mainstream media is, because I doubt that Fox News, CNN, ABC, or NBC did any sort of analysis or investigation. And it's not even like I'm deep diving. I'm just looking at the kids' YouTube and Twitter pages. It's not that hard. It's pretty pathetic that I could sit on my couch and be a better news analyst and journalist than all the top journalists who make $100 million a year. And then they want to silence people who actually do journalism. So that's really what's going on here. Let me know your thoughts. It's all love. Don't, be negative. Don't be nasty. Don't bully and harass anybody. I'm not calling for that. I'm simply calling for the First Amendment to be intact and people to be able to have the conversations that they deserve to have. Someone said even the right lies. Absolutely. People accuse me of saying, oh, you're Fox News. I'm not Fox News. I don't even watch Fox News. And I doubt Fox News would even want to have me on because they probably don't want to cover the stuff I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody's capable of lying. Everybody's capable of censoring. Everybody's capable of tyranny. It goes left and right. I'm just talking about the current moment. For some reason, nobody on the left wants to talk about this stuff. And people on the right say it, or if you're on the left and you say it, they call you right-wing. They call you Russian. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not picking sides. I'm simply telling you about where we're at right now and the tricks that they're using to silence anybody on the left and the right. So take it with a grain of salt. Take it or leave it. I appreciate you guys for joining. I'm going to post my links below. My email list will be below. Sign up. It's free. I'm going to send out an email tomorrow. Also, my donation link, if you would like to support my news analysis. I work very, very, very hard. I also have another page where I help spread information and try to open up the discussion. So I'm working very, very hard. I appreciate your support. And it's able to allow me to do analysis like this because YouTube has made it harder for people to make money. Facebook has made it harder for people to make money. Twitter has made it harder. They don't want, not only do they not want me to be able to say these things, but they don't want me to get funding because they know that's how you're able to do it long term. So this is strictly run by the people. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your love. And my donor box link will be below. It means a lot to me, and it does allow me to continue to do this at a very, very fast pace. So thank you guys so much. Links will be below. Let me know your thoughts. This is not a conspiracy theory. Once again, just an analysis. I appreciate you. Have a good week.